Well, welcome everybody to the YokeTalk Podcast, all you yokers out there. That term was coined by Blue Eyes, and I love it.
I love it as well. The yokers. Hello, yokers.
Hello,
my fellow
yokers. It sounds super weird, but I love it. I love it.
It's so great.
You've got to be yoking. We've gone too far.
Oh,
But welcome everybody. Hope you're all doing well. PastorBoz, how has your week been so far?
It's been going pretty good, man. I had a good morning yesterday. My birthday, guys. I am getting old. My birthday was on Sunday.
Happy late birthday.
Thank you. I am 33 years
old.
wiser than people that are 0 years old.
Old man boss.
Amen. Amen. So I had a good breakfast yesterday, and then me and the staff did a thing. I'm not telling you what it is, but we did secret things for SquadCon. Excited for that, and then so having a good week. How's your week going?
Nice. Well, my day was similar to yours yesterday, as you know, and today I was trying to catch up on all the usual things that I would do on a Monday. So playing a little bit of catch up because of the busy start to the week, but doing pretty good. Tired, but we're hanging in there. We're doing good.
All right.
So we've got some pretty good topics to talk about today for you guys. We wanted to kick one topic off, not really like a gaming news topic, but a topic that I thought would be interesting to talk about and a good one to do to just kind of continue to introduce you guys to myself and PastorBoz, for those of you that may not know us too well. Just kind of talking about how we have some differences in opinions on some games and game genres and things like that. Thought it would be fun to talk about. So let's go ahead and roll that intro, and then we'll get going with it. Alrighty, wonderful. I want to remind you guys that if you guys have any topics that you would like us to discuss or touch on here at the YokeTalk Podcast, all you need to do is whisper myself or PastorBoz or DM us on Discord or whatever it is how you would like to contact us. If you want to email us, I guess you could do that too. But
you can even do it today. If you guys just thought of a topic 2 minutes ago, DM us. We'll be checking up on our DMs every once in a while, and
we can't guarantee we'll talk about everything, but
hey, if I have something to say about it, I'll probably say something about it. I'm not gonna lie.
That's right. Also want to let you guys know that this podcast is now available on Spotify, so that's pretty cool. Shout out to all you people listening on Spotify, and it'll be coming soon to Apple Podcasts and Google Podcasts. We're just waiting on those to get approved. I've submitted both of them, so we're just waiting on that, trying to get it on as many platforms as possible. So that's very exciting. But let's go ahead and jump into the first topic of discussion that I have dubbed in the title, Differences Aren't Deal Breakers. So what we're going to be talking about here is just the differences in our gaming preferences between myself and Boz, because believe it or not, we actually have some pretty divisive opinions between us. But I think it's one of those things where a lot of people, as a first impression, they would be like, oh, you don't like that game? You hate that game? We can't be friends. Like, they just, like, immediately, like, it would, like, no way. There's no way I can, like, be friends with this person if they don't like that game because I love that game. I think it's really easy to kind of fall into that mindset, especially on a first impression standpoint. But I hope that through this conversation that you guys will be able to realize that these kind of disagreements, they don't have to like mean you can't have a friendship with somebody. I'm best friends with this dude, but I will argue him to the teeth on why I don't like Final Fantasy 14.
Listen, Final Fantasy 14. Final Fantasy 14 is an amazing game.
Sell it to me.
I'm going to sell it to you. Final Fantasy 14 has thousands of hours of content where you're not going around in the same exact level over and over and over to grind something. You can do the same similar trials, but it's not the same exact thing over and over and over. Warframe, for instance.
Excuse you.
Just going to throw out Warframe.
Excuse you.
I think Warframe is a decent game. I would never invest in it in any way, shape, or form. Hours, money, anything really. But at the same time, I can understand why people like it, but it's just not my thing. And you invested hundreds of hours. thousands of hours. Goodness gracious, I don't have that much time on my plate, but thousands of
That's
hours.
Over 7
in Warframe.
years. Over 7 years.
Oh my goodness gracious! But I've invested hundreds of hours in Final Fantasy 14, yet we still talk.
Yeah,
somehow.
That's true.
We still talk. We're still friends. I love Final Fantasy 14. I think it's great. I think everybody's like, oh, the gameplay is too slow. You know, when you started Final Fantasy 14, you started off as a healer. That was where you went wrong. That's where you went wrong.
Every class should be fun. There shouldn't be a not fun class.
Is there a Warframe in Warframe that you do not like?
Yes, but that doesn't mean other people
every
can't
Warframe should be fun.
But just because I don't like it doesn't mean other people can't enjoy it.
Exactly. Some people enjoy healing. I, for one,
in the first
currently do not.
30 levels of the game, I don't think it's very fun.
You don't have to heal for the first 30 levels.
Exactly. Exactly.
You could have been an archer.
Which means my class is useless for the first 30 levels of the game.
I am upset.
So this is the main difference in our like ideologies that I think kind of shapes our opinions between these two games, where I'm one where it's like I need the core gameplay to be fun, and then I don't care like what the end game looks like or like what kind of variety there is. If the core gameplay is fun, then I'm down. And that's what Warframe is for me. The core gameplay is tons of fun. I love just killing things and jumping around like a space ninja. It's the greatest. Whereas Final Fantasy XIV is more a game where the end game is where most of the fun happens. Am I correct?
No.
Oh, okay.
I mean, does the end game have great content? Yes, it does. It has more fun content than the core game. Absolutely. The end game content continues on. They continue making it better as well. But I personally love the core gameplay of Final Fantasy XIV. When it first came out, I remember looking at Danielle, because obviously we were already married. I looked at her. I said, I have not enjoyed a game like this in a very long time. And she was like, I'm happy for you. Would you like to watch a movie? No, because I'm playing Final Fantasy XIV. That's where I was at in that moment.
Rip Danielle. Rip Sparkle-tastic Danny. Oh gosh.
So yeah, I thought the core gameplay of Final Fantasy XIV, it drew me in, and I'm still doing it today. So
okay, well, as you know, I disagree. Maybe it was because I played a healer, but I think I had other issues with the game than just the fact that I was a healer. Right. I thought the cutscenes were very, very low budget and like just really hard to watch and digest.
Sure.
And you've told me that they get better later in the game, which is understandable. But
I can understand.
But from a new player's perspective, going into it, like it's not a great first impression.
Right. I can understand that. I personally, I like the storyline, but I think what really drew me in, like still to this day, I don't even understand what in the world is going on half the time. I'm not even going to lie, but the gameplay keeps me coming back. So I can understand if you were just like a story driven person, which I love stories generally in games. And that's what will draw me in. The gameplay really drew me in on this one. So I can understand the story.
To me, I didn't like the story and I didn't like the gameplay.
I didn't like the story of Warframe. So
well, okay. The story in Warframe really doesn't start until later. So, I mean, that's understandable.
It's the same exact thing with Final Fantasy. Well, I mean, it's not. There's a story, but yeah.
But it's
I digress.
I get it. We're kind of arguing the same things here, but it's like it's the different ideologies in the things that we value. You know, I value the gameplay more than the story usually. Now, that doesn't mean I can't enjoy a game that's like more heavily story focused and not so much of the gameplay. But for a game like Warframe or like any MMO, I'm definitely going to value the gameplay over the story in a game like that. Yeah. Sure. So. I mean, I get it. I get why you don't like Warframe. It's a very hard game to get into. Just like Final Fantasy XIV has some things that make it hard to get into, you know? Warframe might have really fun gameplay from the start, but it's also really confusing from the start. I'll admit that.
Right.
I'll admit that. And, you know, they're trying to fix those things, and but at the same time, they're also trying to add new content for the people that have been playing the game forever. So I get it. You know, I get why Final Fantasy XIV hasn't gone back and like redone their early cutscenes because they're focused on future content. It makes sense.
Right.
It's just this.
They're changing some things this new patch, but I don't know. They're never going to change cutscenes. Let's be completely honest here. But the whole point, as Seraph was explaining before, of this is we clash on very many video games. He does not like turn-based video games. You guys have been watching my stream playing Final Fantasy VI. I love it. You know, and he just does not like those types of things. But the thing is we did not build our relationship because of our similarities on our video games. Do we like Smash? Both of us? Sure. We both like The Legend of Zelda. Both of us, that is our favorite, games ever created, are Legend of Zelda games. But it wasn't the video games that gave us the relationship that we have with each other. There's other building blocks inside of our relationship. I think that can go for anybody if I'm not mistaken.
For sure. Yeah. And I think we definitely did have some games that we connected on early on. Like you were mentioning, we both found out we liked Zelda. I think there was a couple other things, but it was mainly Zelda. We were like, oh, we like Zelda. Yeah. And so we kind of started talking with that. But say, for instance, we had started with, oh, I like Warframe and you like Final Fantasy 14. Like let's pretend there's a world.
We wouldn't be here today.
Let's pretend there's a world where for the past 4 however many years we've known each other, we didn't know each other, and we'd been playing our games, doing our thing. I was loving Warframe, you were loving Final Fantasy 14, but we didn't know each other yet. This is the theoretical world that we're living in right now. So, and then in that world, then we meet, and instead of talking about Zelda, the first thing we talk about is Warframe and Final Fantasy 14, and we have very, very conflicting opinions about those games. We may be like, would we have been friends? I don't know. We would be
those two people where mods would come into the Discord and they'd be like, all right, guys, maybe you should take this to DMs. You know those moments,
This theoretical world theoretically sucks. I agree. But I had to throw it out there for argument's sake. But so that being said, if you find someone where, you get that first impression where they like a game that you don't like, don't let that stop you from feeling like you can never be friends with them, because clearly it has not stopped us.
Right. It has not stopped us once. And there's been times that he tried Final Fantasy 14 once, as he said. I tried Warframe. Yep. I even tried Warframe a couple times on a Switch. I did not like my Switch experience. I will be completely honest with you. Granted, I was playing in handheld mode, so that was maybe part of it. But I played on PC. I thought it was okay. I was like, maybe I can try invest in this, and I really just didn't want to. So, but we're here today, and we still connected on other things that were not necessarily just video games. So
very true.
You can always build a relationship with somebody, even if they don't. Fortnite people, I'm speaking to you. If somebody doesn't like Fortnite, it is okay. I promise.
It is?
It is okay.
That's okay? This is allowed? Whoa. Whoa.
So, speaking of great relationships, though, I want to say this. Seraph, I'm very upset. I'm very upset with you. We're talking about great relationships.
Uh-huh.
Much of our relationship was built off of Super Smash Bros. Ultimate.
Yeah. Well, I don't know about that, but we have definitely shared quite a few moments with it.
You've taught me.
I have taught you.
Super Smash.
Yes.
You've taught me. And over the past few weeks, things have occurred. Relationships blossom. I understand.
My man is calling me out.
But you have not played Min Min yet.
I have not.
You have not played the new update
where
Captain Falcon, one of your favorite characters to play, was super upgraded.
Got mega buffed. Yep.
Falco got buffed.
Mm-hmm.
All these people get buffed. Where have you been?
I have been doing other things.
What are these other things that you've been doing?
Oh, so for those of you that do not know, my man is calling me out. Mordecai says Seraph finds woman, drops Smash. Look,
for real though.
Look, it was bad timing. Okay, it was bad timing.
Bad timing.
Bad timing.
Bad timing.
Okay.
Let's listen to this.
For those of you that don't know, I've been in a new relationship recently. You may know them. And they were visiting this past week for the whole week, and so I didn't play any video games. And the Smash update came out last week, and the Animal Crossing update came out last week, and I haven't played either of them.
I'm losing my best friend.
Look,
I knew this. Listen, I knew this was going to happen. You're gonna find a person. What do I say about this? I'm upset. So here's my question, right? Our time with each other has been confined to a very narrow space of time on a weekly basis at this point. I understand. I get it. But when is this time gap going to increase again so we can continue building on this relationship?
Oh, I don't know. But
but in your defense,
but you know,
go ahead.
I think we were about to say the same thing, but you know, it is.
I don't think so.
Oh, I guess so. Right then. I was gonna say that it is a long distance relationship. She's almost 9 hours away, so it is very difficult for us to spend time with one another. So usually the time that we have to spend together is in the evenings, which was also the time that you and I would generally hang out. So that is obviously a bit of a conflicting issue, but you know I still love you, and I still try to hang out. I have not neglected you completely. I have not.
Only 95%.
Hey, I give it a good 70.
I need to. But I was gonna say, in your defense, I understand it's a long distance relationship. I only had one of those. Didn't last a long time. It wasn't the right thing for me. But in your defense, I remember when myself and Sparkle-tastic Danny started dating the second time around. That's a story for another time. But the second time around we started dating, cell phones were not very popular. They were just becoming really popular. Remember, like the clamshells, right? You had the Razor, the Nokia. You could drive over a Nokia phone with like a truck and the thing would be fine. This was the time that texting was like, it was a hassle to text people. Now all you do is text people. You didn't have a full keyboard. In these days, I know many of you're thinking this is going to be crazy. This is going to sound crazy to you guys. You couldn't just call anybody whenever you wanted for free. Now, granted, yeah, we all have these unlimited plans. You know what was unlimited? Nights and weekends, 901. I don't know till when in the morning, but 901 at night. On weekdays, weekends, Saturdays and Sundays, unlimited. And that was it. And my wife, she had Verizon. You could call anybody on Verizon for free whenever you want.
I don't know where you're going with this, just so we're clear.
I will get there.
I feel like we're digressing quite a bit.
I had AT&T. I had AT&T. She had Verizon. We could not call each other for free. We're on different plans here. At 9:01 at night, I would call Danielle, or she would call me, and we would talk for as long as we possibly could. So if anybody wanted my time at 9:01, they didn't get it. So I understand where you're coming from with a long distance relationship. It's a little bit different than what I had going on. I was at college. She was at home. Couldn't really meet up because it's like a 40-minute drive. We did every once in a while, but it wasn't often. She had work. I had work. But at 9:01, if anybody else wanted to talk to me, Mom wants to talk to me. Mom, you could talk to me tomorrow. We both have AT&T. I can call you for free tomorrow, but I cannot call Danielle for free tomorrow. So I know for many of this is going way back in the day. It's like going back to when the world was black and white. The world was black and white, guys. It wasn't just black and white television. Fight me on this. But anyways.
That's it?
That's it. So I understand. I do understand.
Well, thank you.
Eventually, we will have more time with each other. I do agree.
Especially right now, in the early stages of the relationship, want to make sure, giving it that time. And I do think this should be a bit of a reminder for all of us, that video games aren't everything. Obviously, we love them. We love to play them.
Whoa. We've gone too far.
This is a gaming podcast, sir.
You've gone too far. We just lost all of our followers.
I thought this was a gaming podcast.
Gaming isn't life?
I'm out of here. Anyway.
Moving along.
Yes, it's true. Gaming is not everything. And sometimes, we need to set aside the games and, make time for the people that matter in our lives. And that's what I did last week. It was just unfortunate that there was like 2 updates for games that came out last week. And I haven't played them, and we can't talk about them because of that.
It's been 2 weeks. All right? It's been 2 weeks as of yesterday, right?
Since what?
Min?
No, it came out last week.
All right. It's been a week and a day.
Yeah.
It's been okay. All right.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. I'll back off a little. If you haven't played by next week, though, there's an issue.
Yes, there is. I agree. But yeah, so that's me. That's why I haven't. I still don't know if my Warzone is fixed. We talked about that last week. My Warzone was broken. I was like, maybe I'll be able to tell you guys next week if it's fixed. I don't know.
We got to check on this.
I thought about starting it up earlier when I had a little bit of time, but I didn't. And I have no idea. I have no idea if my Warzone is still broken or not. So guess maybe you'll find out next week.
We'll find out hopefully next week. But anyways, we're going to move on for just a second, guys. And I don't know if you don't have enough money in your pocket for video games, but you're probably not going to have enough money later on if you don't have enough money right now for video games. So unfortunately, guys, we are seeing a possible trend starting. What is that trend, UnworthySeraph?
Yeah, so this is something that I found today. The title of this article is "The PS5 and Xbox Series X game price hike is unpleasant but not surprising." So is it true or not? Well, if we take a look at the article, it would appear that 2K Games is setting the price for their NBA 2K21 on the Xbox Series X and PS5 at $70 instead of $60. Now, I believe the Xbox One and PS4 versions are still $60, but the next-gen console versions are $70.
I think it's $70 for both.
The article says $70.
Okay.
10 more than its price on the PS4 and Xbox One.
You know what's really strange about this whole entire thing? For some reason, the new Watch Dogs games, Watch Dogs Legions, something like that.
I'm like, why is there another one? But anyway.
Yeah, for real. First of all, for real. Secondly, on the PS4, for some reason, it hasn't even come out yet. Pre-order sales, $40. Really? Xbox One, $60. Who knows? It's sold out now on the PS4. So, and it went back up to $60 after it got sold out. So maybe it was wrong, but Amazon.com was selling it for $40 at one point. But so anyways, moving along.
So I believe so far that 2K21 is the only game to be confirmed to be $70 on the next gen consoles. Right. But it does raise the question, is this going to set a trend for everything? Right. Now 2K is a game series that if I'll be honest, has been known for just trying to kind of squeeze all the money out of you. So there's that. Maybe that's all this is. But I would not be surprised if this kind of became the standard. What do you think, Buzz?
So, I mean, I wasn't buying a lot of video games throughout, obviously, my childhood. PlayStation, I don't think I bought any video games. And if I did, it was like a present for somebody. I don't remember what the prices were. But I do remember buying video games on PlayStation 2. Those games were $50. And then when the PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360 came out, we saw a jump big time. This was a major jump for everybody. It went up to $60 from $50. That was the last time we saw it. So I'm not surprised that this kind of came around. This topic came around when the PlayStation 4 came out and the Xbox One, that our gaming price is going to jump up. People have been talking about this now for 7 years. It was eventually going to happen, but we do need to remember that at one point in time, games were already $70, and with inflation, that would be $95 today. This was a long time ago. Yes, this was like NES games and things like that. They were $70, which would be about $95 today. Would you pay $95 for a video game?
Depends on the game.
I guess
Depends on the game.
but you know, we all saw this coming. But here's my thing. We all generally spend at least $70 on video games anyways. Not every video game, but there's DLCs that come out, right? Super Smash Brothers, okay? $60 video game. Then you have all these passes that are coming out for the new fighters and stuff like that. So what is it? An extra $50 that we've spent for both season passes. I believe it is
25 a piece, yeah.
Yeah, 20. So extra $50, right? So you're spending essentially $110 for a video game. So is it really going to make a big difference? Do you think the economy is going to go down in gaming? Do you think it's going to go up? Like, what do you think?
Yeah, there's a lot to consider here. Ultimately, I'm surprised it's only increasing by $70 and that it took this long for it to increase at all. Like you were saying, it's kind of been a while that games have been at $60. And the reality is that, like, games are having bigger budgets than ever. Like, gaming budgets and, like, the cost to make games just continues to go up and up and up and up and up and up. And the price of games is still $60. And for a while, that's why you saw so much DLC and expansion passes and microtransactions, because the developers had to make up more money somehow, but they were afraid to raise the prices of the games, so they did it in other ways. Now, what I would hope we see with an increase in price is less of an emphasis on paid DLC and microtransactions. If that was the case, then I don't have any problem paying 70, 80, even $90 for a game if I know that I'm going to get all the rest of the content for free.
And finished. Ubisoft, I'm looking at you.
Hey.
Just saying.
Yeah. So that's definitely kind of how I feel about it. Like I said, surprised it took this long for the prices to increase, because gaming budgets just keep going up. And you touched on inflation. That's definitely a thing as well. Just prices always go up with everything, not even just gaming.
It's been a long time since prices rose to $60 on the PlayStation 3. I mean, when did the PlayStation 3 come out? What year was that?
Let's Google it.
2000.
The release date.
5?
2006. You were close.
Okay, I was close. 2006, right? So we have not seen. Okay, yes, there's games that go up and down. We could argue that all day. We have not seen a general $10 increase in 15 years. That's a long time. Let's be complete. 14, almost 15 years. Let's be. So I think, for me, I think gamers are going to be up in arms for a month. Once it actually happens, I think gamers will be up in arms for a month. Oh, $70. I can't buy this game. And then they're going to say, wow, that game is actually looking amazing. Let me go out and get it. And I think people will be done with it after that. And like I said, we're all used to paying for DLCs. Final Fantasy 14, let's be honest. And those of you that play WoW and other paid games, like subscription-based games, you're paying a lot of money. Let's be honest. Like every 6 months, you're paying about $70 for a game. So it is a lot. It's an investment. I think gamers will get over it. Yeah, I really do.
I think another way we can look at it as well in today's gaming world is that now we have a couple things. So first we have things like the Xbox Game Pass, where you can pay like is it $5 or $10 a month? I don't know, something like that.
I don't remember.
Even if it's 10, I don't think it's more than 10. But you can pay that much a month, and then you can play like pretty much anything you want. So, like, there's that. People don't have to spend $70 on games if they don't want to, because that subscription model is there. And then, so I believe EA and a couple other companies have been doing similar kind of game passes where you just pay monthly and you can play all their games. So there's that. And then there's also game streaming services, which price model wise are very much the same. They're just subscription based, and then you can play whatever. So there's so many other different ways that people can pay for games now, whether it be on a subscription service or whatever. So I think that will help as well. There's probably a lot of people that are going to be taking advantage of those things. And those people aren't really going to be affected by the price hike on a per game basis.
For sure. And so, yeah, I think we're all kind of used to this model, like Seraph was just saying, of subscription based things. I think
the world is headed to subscriptions. And, but that, I don't know if that's a topic for this podcast. But
could you imagine, could you imagine buying a Zelda game and it being a subscription-based model video game?
Yikes.
I might quit being a gamer.
Yikes. Don't do it, Nintendo. Don't do it, Nintendo. You're the chosen one.
Please. Please.
But yeah, I mean, the world in general is like going towards subscriptions, everything. I mean, you saw it with Adobe. They used to charge $400, $500 more for their software. Now you can get all of it for like $20 a month. It's like, that's what the world is doing now.
It is insane. So, chat, I want to hear what you guys have to say. Put a 5 in the chat.
Put a 5 in the chat.
A 5. Put a. You know what? Let's do this. Put a 70 in the chat if you would buy a $70 video game.
I feel like most people probably would.
That's what I'm saying. Like I don't think it's literally 2 cups of coffee. Well, maybe 3.
What kind of cups of coffee are you buying?
Starbucks.
$35 cups of coffee?
$10. I'm talking about $10 extra dollars. 60 to 70.
Okay. Yes,
although
that
taxes
makes a little more sense.
It's gonna be like $74. It's rough. It's rough. We got only 4 people that are able to apparently that will buy $70. This throws this whole topic out the window. All right.
All right. Okay. Well, I believe we've said all there is to say on that. We'll have to see how that goes in a few months if we get more games.
Speaking of money. Speaking of money and buying
You're all over
UnworthySeraph
today.
Oh, listen, I love segues. Speaking of money and buying things, Sony is planning on buying. They're not planning. They're considering.
I'm Jake Decker, and I'm reading for reviewer Mike Epstein.
I'm sorry, a video just started playing on my computer, and everyone.
Yes,
heard
that does happen on
stinking autoplay.
Don't scroll down either, because there's another video under it that will autoplay. So, anyways, I'm just letting you know. Sony is planning, or considering, I should say, buying a specific company, and this has a lot to do with you, UnworthySeraph. How do you feel about Sony buying the company that created one of your favorite games of all time?
What is that game, Boz?
Warframe.
So, I had not heard of this until like 30 minutes before the podcast when Boz sent me the link. And to be honest, I haven't even looked at the article. And I already have so many feelings. I have so many feelings about this. And Boz is just dying over there. If you guys are listening audio only.
I had to swallow.
He was taking a drink. And he was dying.
I almost just spit all over my microphone. This man
almost just died live on stream. Almost just died. But yeah, so we talked about this earlier. I love Warframe. I've been playing it for 7 years. And it's not even that Sony's buying it. Like it's I don't have anything against Sony, but for anyone to be buying Warframe, I have a problem with that. I have a big problem with that. In more ways than one. So, if you guys aren't familiar with Warframe, it is a indie game, so it's not published by anyone.
It's a budget Destiny game.
It is budget Destiny. It's free to play. It's better than Destiny in my opinion, but hey,
fighting words there.
But Destiny has better PvP for sure, hands down. But where was I going with that? Oh yeah, so Warframe is an indie game. It was free to play. And it was built from a studio that was really, really struggling at the time. They had to let a lot of people go, and Warframe was literally like their last-ditch effort to survive as a company, and it worked. And the company has been doing much better. They've continued to make Warframe. The game continues to grow, and they've done that all by themselves without any publisher or anything. And I think the game is better for it. For anyone to be buying it, I'm like, hands off my Warframe. Like,
you know what's interesting?
Get out of here.
We were talking about relationships before between Final Fantasy and Warframe. Did you know that Final Fantasy had a very similar origin story?
I did.
That's why it's called Final Fantasy. Okay, continue.
I thought you were talking about with Realm Reborn with 14.
No. I'm talking about Final Fantasy, the first one ever made. The company was
Oh.
It was dead. They were like, you got one chance. They made Final Fantasy. That's why it's called Final Fantasy.
I see.
It's their
Anyway.
final attempt. Anyways.
Anyway, so yeah, I have that problem. And then the other problem I have, I still haven't looked at the article. I have no idea what this article says other than the headline. But the other problem I have is the fact that the developers would in a million years consider selling it. Now DE, my dear DE Digital Extremes, I love you guys. And I will give you guys the benefit of the doubt on this. I know that I know nothing. And I know that you will do the right thing. That is all.
What if Sony obviously has a lot of money, okay? Would you be okay with Sony taking over, giving them a ton of money, and allowing DE Digital Extreme to do whatever they want with the game with the money they were given? Would you be okay with that or no?
Yes, I would.
It probably wouldn't happen.
But even if they come out and say that that's what's happening, there's always that bug in the back of people's minds, like, is it actually happening? How much influence do they actually have, right?
Right.
So, for instance, I was actually looking at an article that I thought about maybe bringing to the podcast about Destiny and about how one of the ex-Bungie employees, the guy who wrote the music for Halo and worked a little bit on Destiny, was coming out and saying that the Activision partnership that Bungie made with Destiny was just kind of a bad idea from the start, and it wasn't any good, and we see that eventually Bungie parted ways with Activision, and from what I've seen and heard, the game has been doing a lot better because of that. Now, of course, that's a much bigger topic, but what I'm getting at here is in the Bungie Activision agreement, Bungie retained ownership of Destiny. That they weren't selling it to Activision, they were retaining ownership, and even though they were retaining ownership, we still saw Activision have a lot of influence about where the game went.
Right.
So if Warframe were to do something similar, where it's like, okay, we're going to buy the game and give you money, and even if it's like, we'll let you keep ownership, that doesn't mean they can't influence the game a lot.
True.
So
Very
I am concerned. I am upset.
Okay.
And now I'm going to look at this article because
is upset.
I still haven't read it. Sony is reportedly considering a bid on the parent company. There's another one that we didn't even talk about because it's lesser of value to me. No offense if you like this game, but on the parent company of Gears Tactics and Warframe developers, Digital Extremes and Splash Damage, respectively. Actually, that's not even respectively. Warframe is made by Digital Extremes.
It is completely.
That's just confusing. Who wrote this article? Warframe is made by Digital Extremes. Gears Tactics is made by Splash Damage. I know who wrote this article because it says it. I'm not going to call him out, though. So the company is said to be scouting the idea of an offer for Leo Technologies Holdings Ltd. I don't know what does Ltd stand for. Nobody knows. Anyway.
Lambs to die.
Bloomberg reports that Leo is seeking a buyer as soon as this month, and that Sony is hoping that it can win the bidding war with more solid financing than its competitors. So where does Warframe come into this? I don't know.
They're bidding on the company, essentially, not
but does
just
Leo,
Warframe.
Do they own any part of Warframe? I know there's like some China company that owns like a little bit of Warframe.
Maybe that's what it is.
Is it this one? Maybe it is. I don't know. This article does not have a lot of details.
That is very upsetting.
It does not. I wish I knew more, and which is why I am giving DE the benefit of the doubt. I am not up in arms. I am not panicking. But in a situation where this was true, I would be concerned. I would have thoughts, and I have expressed these thoughts to you.
Yes.
Yes?
They are trying to buy the company, though.
Supposedly. Reportedly. According to the article, it says reportedly.
Yeah, I feel we've seen things like this happen in video games, just not like big companies buying other, but like, okay, Call of Duty, for instance, right? Lots of changes over the years, people buying other, and it got bad at one point. Now they've kind of gotten better, but when you get to the microtransactions and everything else, it gets to the point of just it gets messy, and it's unfortunate. So hopefully, for your sake, we do not see things get messy, because I know you love Warframe.
I would cry.
They've been doing a lot of good things with Warframe for the community and things like that. So for your sake, I hope things continue the way that they are going. You're welcome.
Thank you, my yoke fellow.
You're welcome. No problem. I may not like the game, but I like you.
Thanks, man. So how would you feel if, your favorite game was about to be bought up by a bigger company?
Well, I mean, my favorite game is the Legend of Zelda games.
So Sony is going to buy Legend of Zelda. How do you feel?
Listen, if Sony bought the Legend of Zelda, I would throw my keyboard against the wall. I would smash it, and because I could still play the Legend of Zelda, but I would not play it on PC. But it wouldn't be PC anyways. But
on PlayStation.
Well, not necessarily. I mean, let's be honest. There is a PlayStation exclusive game that's coming out on PC on August 7th, Horizon Zero Dawn. Those of you that have never played Horizon Zero Dawn, you can play it on August 7th if you're not a PlayStation 4 person. But regardless of all that, I would be upset, if, let's say, Final Fantasy 14, Square Enix was getting bought out by somebody, big company like Microsoft. I would be upset. I would be honestly upset. I think they've done a lot of good things. They made a lot of mistakes over the years, but they learned from their mistakes, and I just don't think it would not be a good experience. It would not be a good experience.
Always a little, not sketchy, but like little. You feel a little uneasy whenever
right.
A big company is buying something, no matter whether it's gaming or whatever. But
the thing that I feel for big companies though is whenever they buy out anything, if let's just say, I won't put it that way, but when a big company buys out something, they get a lot of flack if anything bad happens with the game. Whereas if they never bought it in the first place, the fans of the game would say, well, it was just a mishap in the series. It was something that would have never, but then if Microsoft buys them out, it was Microsoft's fault. It was all their fault. They put, so I think it could go either way. But at the same time, I think I would be upset.
Yeah, that's a good point. Whether it's gaming or whatever else, when a company buys something, and then the littler company that is now part of the bigger company starts making poor decisions, the bigger company immediately gets blamed because they own it now. Whereas maybe the smaller company is being allowed to operate on its own and they're just making bad decisions. Who knows?
Right. But speaking of games going to other places, everybody knows about Bungie and everything that happened with Halo.
These segues, they're on point today.
They are on point. I got this, guys. None of these are planned. No. I literally do this 10 seconds before we move into the next point. Speaking of games going on to other platforms and things of that nature, Halo, which was a Microsoft exclusive, obviously it was on Xbox and Xbox 360, and then they're like, let's just put everything on PC at this point, and they did so with Halo. My friend UnworthySeraph, what game is coming out on PC and what day is it coming out?
Halo 3 on July 14th. And
July
Susie
14th.
Live is rejoicing right now, I'm sure.
He probably is. Everybody, there's a lot of Halo fans rejoicing over this. Now, here's the thing. Halo 2 came out about a month ago on PC, right? How did you feel about Halo 2 coming out on PC? There was a lot of hype built around it. I feel like there were people overhyped a little bit, not going to lie. People were like, it's going to be the biggest thing on Twitch, and literally 2,000 people were watching it. Do you feel like this game will do better? How did you feel about Halo 2 coming out on PC?
Yeah, it's hard to say because there is that group of people that are just like diehard Halo 2 fans, and Susie's definitely one of those. And I have a lot of respect for those people. Halo 2 was like the first one that just really had that great refined like Halo experience. Halo 1 was a little rough. It was a little rough. It does not age well. But at the same time, like Halo 2, even though it was more refined and well developed, it was also still a little bit janky in ways from some of the things you could do in the game. Whereas Halo 3 is just a little bit more refined, but also very similar to Halo 2. So it's hard to say. I think, unfortunately, I wouldn't have very high hopes for Halo 3 doing well as it returns to PC, just because of how Halo 2 fared. Now, ultimately, I am a Reach fanboy, so Reach is my favorite Halo, and that one's already out, and I'm already happy with that. I haven't played it in a while, just because there's been other things. But so I don't particularly care, even though that sounds bad. But
Okay.
I don't. If Halo 3 doesn't do well, it's not the end of the world to me. I found it interesting that you put this article in the document because you actually don't really like Halo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean, here's my thing. I didn't grow up playing Halo. I grew up as a Sony fanboy and still love Sony to death. But Halo, the only reason why I have a Halo game, Halo Reach, on a PC, I remember who it was. Thank you very much, by the way. It was fun to play with your friends. I did not like the multiplayer gameplay. Maybe it's because I was horrible at it and I just didn't understand Halo. That's different. A big possibility. It's very different from like a Call of Duty or your typical running, gunning Final Fantasy, Rainbow Six Siege. It's different. It's a different type of gameplay. And so I did enjoy the custom matches where you just made crazy rule sets.
And Halo 3 has a lot of good custom games.
So there you go.
A lot of good custom games.
Now, did Halo Reach come out after Halo 3?
Yes.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Was Halo Reach like essentially Halo 4? But
no, it was
Halo 4.
It's a prequel.
Well, what came out first, Halo 4 or Halo Reach?
Reach.
Oh, that's what I was saying. Like
Reach was the last one to be made by Bungie before they gave Halo to Microsoft.
Okay. Makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay.
And ever since then, Halo's not been great, in my opinion. Companies buying games and then it's not great. Here we are again. Just saying.
And, they're talking about the new Halo coming out soon. What is it called?
Halo Infinite.
Infinite. We'll see.
Who knows?
There was a lot of hype around Halo 5. A lot.
Halo 5's already out.
No, I know. There was a lot of hype, I said. A lot of hype. And I did not hear great things about the game from the Halo community. Some people really enjoyed it. But
the gameplay was pretty decent. It was pretty decent.
I think it's sad because the way let's be honest here. Games are getting smoother and smoother and smoother as technology gets better. Hit detection is better. Some games. Let's be honest there. It's getting smoother gameplay. I almost feel like Bungie should just they already got Destiny. They're fine. Bungie's doing just fine.
They left Halo because they wanted to make something else.
Halo needs to do something. I don't know.
Yeah. It's tough. Halo 5 had a few different issues, had some marketing issues and that sort of thing. But sure. In my opinion, ever since Bungie stopped making Halo, the story just went off the rails and the gameplay didn't really know what it wanted to do. And
so, will you be playing Halo 3 on?
I'll probably play it a little bit.
Not on release necessarily, but are you gonna play it? You're gonna get that game? Okay.
Well, I mean, I already have it because I got the Master Chief Collection.
So you went all out and did that, huh?
Yeah.
Okay. How many people in the chat? Let us know if you guys are going to be playing Halo 3. I would love to see who's going to be playing Halo 3.
Yeah, I definitely want to do a campaign run through. I've been doing that on most of the Halos as they release, and I haven't really finished any of them except for Reach. I finished Reach on Legendary.
Did you?
I did. Yes.
When I tried to campaign with you guys, it was all glitchy. Remember that?
Yeah, that was it was very unfortunate.
Very unfortunate.
Because I love the Halo Reach campaign. It's so good.
So you guys are all, going to either be playing the game, not playing the game, but we would like to tell you guys some of the games that we have been playing. So UnworthySeraph, share us some story about what games have you been playing, whether on stream, off stream.
We've already been over this, okay? Give me until next week, and I'll have played some things, all right? Don't you lean that chair back. You can get back up here. Get back up here. But not as recently, I've been playing through Jedi Fallen Order, which has been really good.
Okay.
It's been really good.
Yeah. That was a couple weeks ago. I tried the game. I enjoyed it. How are you enjoying it so far? Do you like the story, first of all?
I do. It's really good. Yeah.
Okay.
It's really good.
And how do you feel about the gameplay?
Gameplay is really nice. It was hard to get used to at first. So for those of you that don't know, Jedi Fallen Order is a single-player Star Wars game. And it's really kind of heavily gameplay influenced by the Dark Souls series. And that's a series that I'm very familiar with. I've played all of them, beat all of them, done 99% of the bosses. Love them. And so Jedi Fallen Order is very influenced by Dark Souls gameplay. But it was still a little bit difficult for me to get the hang of, just kind of the timing of like the parries and stuff. But once I kind of practiced it a little bit, got the hang of it, I've been really, really enjoying the gameplay. It's very satisfying to pull off the parries and some of the different combos and stuff. There's a lot of like freedom to just kind of do fights differently and things like that. So I've been really, really enjoying the gameplay and the world. There's lots of like extra things to find and do. I've loved the progression of everything. It's been really, really great.
Awesome. I only played a very short piece of it. I got to the first planet, essentially, like the first place you can save, I guess. Like, I don't know if you even the tower.
Okay.
Whatever that was. I got there and I stopped playing because I realized I have a backlog of games that I need to finish. So I decided I was gonna stop playing it. I'm gonna restart the game after I'm done with Horizon Zero Dawn. Decided I want to play that game, but okay. Games I've been playing because apparently I just have mastered the ability to not only play one or two, but 3 games.
Hey, I also played SpongeBob.
And hold on. Oh. Listen, that game got like it didn't get the best ratings. I'll throw that one out there. It was for nostalgia.
It's an old game. It didn't age well, but it's still okay.
Okay, Mordecai says Sekiro. This game is not part of those 3 games. I'll be completely honest with you. I've not only been playing 1 or 2 but 3 games and holding down a lovely marriage at the same time.
Look.
I've mastered it.
Look. I feel attacked.
It took me 8 years. Well, okay. I've been married for 8 years. We've been together for 12 years. So it took me 12 years to figure out how to do this, but I have mastered it. I have learned.
See, I just haven't learned yet.
You gotta learn. Min. Just play Min with me tonight. It will be okay.
I don't know about that. I love you, my man.
This is what I'm talking about. I've had a backlog of games, guys. I just finished Final Fantasy VII Remake. Wonderful game, by the way. Really enjoyed it. It is rated T for a reason. I believe it's rated T, but yeah, just be wary of that. But I've been playing Horizon Zero Dawn as of late. Great game, great gameplay. Haven't played it in a couple days, but very good. And then on stream, oh wait, there are 4 games.
Oh,
obviously playing Final Fantasy 14. Been making time for that, doing raids, doing things like that. But on my stream, I am not playing Sekiro. No, I am not.
He just threw the game. He threw it over his shoulder.
I threw the case. The game's not in there.
Like a banana peel.
It might be in there. I don't know.
You should probably check. The people,
it's good.
The people need to know.
Yeah, but then they're all going to see my pajama pants. All business on top, pajamas on the bottom.
Well, this has been your choice.
It was my choice. Last week I wore jeans thinking this would never happen. They can see it. They can see it. No!
Look, nobody cares about your pajama pants, okay?
They're red. They're flannel. They're warm. The game is not in it.
Not in it. The game's not in it, everybody. Safe.
You know what that means?
Throw it again. Yeah.
Throw it again.
Throw it.
I like the game. I like the challenge of the game. I do not like that it doesn't give me any direction at all of where to go. Every walkthrough is contradicting each other. We had this talk last week. I am upset. On my stream, I am now playing Final Fantasy VI. I'm at the halfway point. I'm at the World of Ruin. So if you guys know that game, wonderful game. My favorite Final Fantasy game of all time. Been playing that. I've been truly enjoying it and loving it. Hope you guys have been loving that as well.
So I'll ask you this real quick,
sure.
And then we'll probably wrap things up. So I know a lot of people like Final Fantasy VII as their favorite compared to Final Fantasy VI. So what is it about Final Fantasy VI that you prefer over 7?
Honestly, the story and the characters.
Okay.
I Final Fantasy VII, some of the characters had great progression in it, where they kind of expanded on the character story. But it didn't do it as well as 6 did. 6 had so many playable characters in it. The story is that there has not been a Final Fantasy that's been as good as Final Fantasy 6's story as of yet to date. Like there just isn't. I do like the 2D. Like for example, okay. What game was it that just recently came out? Well, not recent, like 2 years ago. You had told me to buy the game. Octopath, right? Okay. Granted, I had issues with that game. I did like it though, but like I like those type of graphics, those type of games, like the the sprites and things like that. So I really enjoyed that. But 6, it's just too good. Here's why people like 7 better, because they grew up with 7. Okay, a lot of people grew up in the PlayStation era. If you grew up in the PlayStation era, you started playing Final Fantasy 7.
So you're just old, is what you're saying.
Yeah, too old.
You're just old.
I grew up with Final Fantasy 4 though. That was my first Final Fantasy game. I mean,
here goes.
I mean, I technically grew up. Technically, my games that I grew up with were like Super Mario Brothers 3, Super Mario Brothers 1. I didn't want to throw that one in there, but Super Mario Brothers 1, played that for a very long time. I love The Legend of Zelda, the original that came out in 1980.
Were you a fan of Pong by any chance?
I played it, but no, not really. I did play the Atari though. This was way. It was already a retro game when I played it on an actual Atari.
Okay.
I'm not that old. My goodness, that game came out 82?
Don't ask me.
Fact check me. 77, something like that. My parents had Pong. I did not have Pong though. My parents had it. So, but yes, so Final Fantasy 6, that is where it's at. Aki and Peach Fight Me is Final Fantasy 4, not Final Fantasy 2. It's Final Fantasy 2 in America.
Look, we can all get along here, even if we don't even if we disagree on our games. Remember?
And Final Fantasy
we covered
6
that in the first section.
3 in America. This is 2020. It's Final Fantasy 6 and Final Fantasy 4, 2020.
All right. Well, Boz is going off the rails. So I think that is going to close it up here. Boz has played all the games, and I've played almost nothing this past week. So hopefully next week that looks a little bit different for the YokeTalk podcast. So, Boz, do you have any final words here for the Yokers?
Only final word I'd have, Yokers, please do me and UnworthySeraph a favor. Please DM us on Discord with what you guys want us to talk about. We like to talk about things that we like, absolutely, but we want you guys to be interested in what we're talking about as well. So if there's a new game release, right? Paper Mario's coming out soon. If you're really excited about that, whatever you might be excited about, we'll do some research on it. We'll form our own opinions, put a little comedy in there, for the fun. But really, send us what you guys want us to talk about. We want this to be for the Yokers. This is not just for the yoke fellas. This is for the Yokers. Blue eyes, you are on point. And Yokers.
To add on to that, it doesn't even have to be like some new game or something. It can be like an idea. So kind of like we did today, where we were talking about how even though you disagree about game preferences, you can still be great friends. So it'd be something like that. That you think might be cool for us to talk about. Could be anything. So yeah, we like to keep this podcast pretty open for whatever. No, we talked about that in the first episode. So
So definitely, and
Whoa.
definitely DM us on Discord. I will not remember anything that you guys talk about. Roman's talking about Tesla car. Listen.
Tesla stock. We're not talking about Tesla stock, and I think that is gonna wrap it
we
up.
Try to keep it on a gamer field. You know what I mean?
That is gonna wrap it up here, my friend.
Anyways, let's wrap it up, Yokers.
Let's wrap it up, Yokers. We're heading out of here. All right, guys. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. If you missed the beginning, or maybe you just want to listen to the whole thing again, podcast is going to be available on Spotify and YouTube, and coming soon to Apple and Google Podcasts. So wherever you want to listen or watch, it'll be there. I hope you guys have a fantastic rest of your week, and we will see you next time on the YokeTalk Podcast. This is UnworthySeraph and PastorBoz signing off.
See y'all,
Farewell,
Yokers.
everyone. See ya, Yokers.